I think globalization is accelerating in spite of the geopolitical sets of issues. I mean, if you just look at the numbers from 1990 to today, it's gone 10 times the sort of the trade. It's gone 1.8 trillion to about 18 trillion, and we think it will continue. I think what's changing is where that trade is occurring, and more of it's going to be south-south trade versus developing markets to developed markets. It's going to see more within the South, if you will, in a significant way. We're seeing more corporates, the biggest corporates in the world, more of them will be based in the emerging markets. So supply chains are being configured, are going to be shifted. So it's increasing, but the mix of it, if you will, is changing as well. So I think there's a lot of change, and it does affect any organization that is global. I think is dealing with thinking about their footprint. Where are they in the right markets? Do they have the right people? Do they where should your headquarters be, or how many headquarters should you have? So lots of big questions to ask. I think the metabolic rate has just gone up for everything. It's just a faster moving place. The competition comes out of nowhere. Product life cycles are getting shorter. With information that's now available, the connectedness, the computing power, the data, things just are moving at a faster pace. So you have less time in an organization to react to issues, and we're also more linked, if you will. So a problem in some part of the world quickly ricochets across the system. So I don't think risk systems have been as ready to deal with that as they have been, or as they need to be. There's implications for even how you build your organization to be able to, be agile, to grow and go after these opportunities, but also be resilient. And that's why I think there's going to be some big changes in terms of headquarters. I mean, people ask us at McKinsey, like, where's our headquarters? I actually have no idea. It doesn't matter. We don't have one headquarters, if you will. It's a global firm, so we need to act like the headquarters are everywhere. What I think we're seeing, and I think others that are more advanced than us, is you have centers of excellence which are in different parts of the world. And our mining center of excellence is not in New York, or in London, or it's in Australia. You have to be able to pick people who are going to be able to work in these environments. One thing is dealing with volatility. And I think in emerging markets, leaders there grow faster because you're just dealing with so much bizarre stuff that's not in any playbook. And you got to have people who are comfortable absorbing shocks, dealing with crazy stuff, being calm, having strong set of values, but also knowing that things in Turkey work differently from the way they may work in South Africa, and how do you do that, and how do you hire people, and how do they build people? So you got to pick people, I think, with different types of characteristics, open-minded but also tough. It's sort of like tensions. Can deal with volatility but are also ambitious about what they're trying to drive. Very good at people development, because at the end of the day we need to be local. I think a global firm has to be global in its leadership. Our Global Institute did some work which would suggest that, I think it's 2025, 46% of the billion-dollar-plus companies that exist, I think there's something like 15,000 of them, will be in the emerging markets. And a lot of those in China, India, but some in Africa as well. And that's a very big shift. And we're seeing it now, where you see it with some of the Chinese, in a sense, almost like their private equity firms, if you will, larger conglomerates, but they're really private at buying up companies. You see Haier that's bought the GE white goods business. Obviously Lenovo with IBM and the PCs. We're going to see a lot more of that over time. And And I think that will change the nature. It's interesting because it's interesting to compare emerging market multinationals versus developed market multinationals. Developed market multinationals are phenomenal. I mean, people like J&J and Nestle and Unilever, they are icons in how you run global organizations. But one of the things that we're looking at is there are some differences emerging in terms of speed of decision making tends to be faster, all things equal, in the emerging market multinationals. And the emerging market multinationals tend to be more long-term oriented than the Western ones. And so we're going to learn a lot, actually, from the emerging market multinationals now. It always used to be, let's benchmark the developed ones. I think we're going to learn some things. Even again, how you run an organization that's global.